Thank you so much for the introduction, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure for me to be here. And we heard already a lot of robots as our new colleagues. I think this is the best term to describe it. And as we sometimes have problems with our human colleagues when it comes to hygiene, we also have sometimes trouble with our robot colleagues when it comes to hygiene. And I would like to introduce you a little bit in this topic, hygiene and robots, because it can be a challenge. But let me first start to talk a little bit about DLG. DLG is an expert network based in Germany, and it has a strong foundation in agriculture. But we also have a competence center food. And this competence center food works as a platform to connect experts from different branches and find solutions for these branches. And I would like to welcome you on our booth here on the Expo Fair, because we have lots of expert knowledges and we can provide that to you for free. We have a QR code here on the back side. You can scan that, and then you have access to all these platform work we do from experts for experts. But let's take a little bit of a look on today's agenda. It is, I will give you a brief introduction. We will talk a little bit about the areas of application, but this is really short. And we will talk about hygiene requirements in food production, because this is really, really important also when it comes to robot colleagues. So let's take a look at the introduction. We know that from the beginning of the robot age, there is a big evolution, and robots take more and more place also in food production. 85 million robots have been implemented, 85,000, robots have been implemented in the consumer good industry worldwide since 2016. And even if the food industry is not making the pace when it comes to using robots, it is still a growing sector, and more businesses have robots in their production. Especially when it comes to dangerous work, so work that is dangerous for humans, robots are replacing these working places for humans. And we did a DLG trend monitor in 2020, and it came out that especially in the dairy industry, but also in beverages, meat, sausage and poultry sectors, as well as baked goods, there is a clear trend towards the use of robots. You can see here the different applications of robots in the food industry. And with 58%, it is most of the applications are in the placing business or in the placing sector, followed by separation, pick and place and fix, mold, and also pick and place and separate. But it also comes clear that these pick and place movements or motions become more and more complex, and it is not only packed food these days that are picked and placed, but also unpacked foods where the robot comes in direct contact with the food. Robots can be categorized in different categories, and the main types of robots used in the food and beverage industry are like articulated robots or arm robots. We have portal robots, SCARA robots, and Delta robots. And due to their special architecture, there are different challenges when it comes to hygiene when these robots are placed in food manufacturing businesses. When we look at the hygiene requirements in food production, our foodstuff, with some exceptions, not rigid or solid, but often fragile and or easily crushable. And in addition, food is susceptible to bacterial or viral contamination. So robots have to be constructed in a way that a spread of bacteria and viruses is not possible, or that the possibility is at least reduced. The development of peripheral components such as sensors that enhance the robot's ability to feel, to touch, to grasp and see is therefore imperative. Especially the grippers must be able to deal with the texture, uneven surfaces and inconsistent shape of foodstuff and meet at the same time the hygienic requirements. At the same time, there has to be a minimum of components, because every small component can get lost and can be a hazard for the food security as a particle in food. You can see a few examples here where the robot grabber and the foodstuff have contact. And in some cases, there are quite many contact positions. Every contact position higher the risk of a contamination with bacteria or viruses. So one of the biggest challenges in automation is compliance with HACCP standards, and therefore all aspects of hygiene at every step of the production. So robots have to be constructed in a way that they pose no harm to the food on one side, but are easy to clean on the other side. A special risk here is, for example, Listeria monocytogenes, because this germ is very resistant to cleaning and disinfection and can survive especially in wet surfaces. And there are other food hazards, you know, that next to biological, there's also chemical hazards like residues of disinfection, and there are physical hazards like loose parts, screws, and whatever can come into the foodstuff. So hygienic design is required, and hygienic design describes a cleaning-friendly design of building components, devices, and production systems in food production. A special attention has to be paid on seals and valves, for example, because these seals are often made of elastomers and rubbers, and they can change or get fragile with temperature changes and also during disinfection. And this is really a critical part, because when they get fragile, bacteria can really easily move into the material. So in practice, there are often recontaminations of product batches that are not immediately visible due to not hygienic sealing points. In practice, many contaminations are due to unsuccessful cleaning of gaps, dead spots in seals and cracks in seals. In addition to technological aspects, there are also product-specific risk factors, and this is related to like easy spoilage foods. And when a robot comes in contact with that, the risk of contamination is even higher. When we look at the different type of robots, then delta robots have advantages due to their parallel kinematics. The slanted vertical arms prevent product residues from accumulating and cleaning agents from being left behind. Portal robots and SCARA robots have a few disadvantages on that behalf, because product residues or cleaning water cannot easily drain off on horizontal surfaces. Articulated robots, or these arm robots, have many moving parts that need to be considered when it comes to hygiene and especially to cleaning and disinfection. So in food manufacturing companies, cleaning and disinfection are crucial to break the chain of contamination. And the robots must be resistant to cleaning agents and disinfectants. The most important point, and we can see that here, is able and trained staff who knows the weak points of the robot that are required for cleaning and disinfection. And here you can see a good example where humans are needed in the production, because only this trained personnel knows where the weak points are, in fact. So when we look at the special hygienic requirements of the human-machine relationship, also called cobots, then we can see that humans play a crucial role in the transmission of germs to food. Due to the direct cooperation between humans and robots and the resulting open production, cobots are part of particularly critical processes with high hygienic requirements for the employees. And you can see that here we have an open production space, and also we have to consider that people from outside the company, like technicians and so on, they have to work with these cobots, and they can always bring germs from outside into a production. And this is even more example when it comes, or even more important when it comes to sensitive foodstuff. You can see this is a ham production where the robot is picking the slices, putting them down. So here we have a sensitive good and an open working space. So internal and external employees need to be trained on possible hygiene risks when working and maintaining cobots. What can we do to control and evaluate the hygienic situations? To carry out the investigation, it is of crucial importance to know which product range is produced with a robot. We have some quick methods for controlling hygiene measures, like, of course, inspection, control of the air, control of liquids with dip slides, and others. So there are many quick tests for a good overview how the hygienic situation is. So it is really important to train the staff in a good way. I can't say that often enough because this is the most important thing, and plan your hygiene controls in a very, very thorough way. So I will come to the end here, give you a small summary and maybe an outlook. Industrial robots are becoming increasingly important in product manufacturing. And depending on their spoilage potential, food groups represent a product-specific factor and should be considered as an important influencing variable for the assessment of bacterial risk. Lots of technological risk factors can be prevented by means of a hygienic design. But hygienic design does not help if the staff that works is not accordingly trained, because humans are always the greater risk factor when you work with robots or cobots. So I would like to thank you all for listening to my lecture. I would be very, very pleased to welcome you at our DLG booth and invite you to look around, invite you to share knowledge with us. And I just can say, 감사합니다.